Good morning, guys. It's June 26th, and the title of what I'm going to be talking about today is Always Now. I'm going to be in 2 Corinthians 6:1, and this is 2 Corinthians is written by Paul, if you guys didn't know, and it's his letters from prison to the church of Corinth. But it's really, really cool because he's being persecuted for being a Christian, standing for what he believes in. And also, Paul was a devout sovereign Jew, and he changed his life when God revealed himself on the road to Damascus. So if you guys know the word, you know what I'm talking about. It's another good day. It's a good day to get into the word. I fully believe that everybody should be opening up their Bible every day, and as many times as you possibly can in anything you do. So I'm going to be in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, and the verse of the day is 1. I'm going to be reading verses 1 through 2. And this is crazy because when I woke up, this is the verse I wanted to talk about today. And I was like, man, when are we going to talk about this? Well, it's back at it. Always Now is the title, so I hope you guys like this. This is one of my favorite verses of all time. Alright, here we go. As God's partners, we beg you not to accept this marvelous gift of God's kindness and then ignore it. For God says, this is the verse I have on my voicemail on my phone. This is what God says. At just the right time, I heard you. On the day of salvation, I helped you. Indeed, the right time is now. Today is the day of salvation. Today is the day of salvation, guys. It's what we do to show God what our salvation is, and it's through what we do. Now, if you're want to have the best salvation, you're going to give it your best in every situation, every second, every breath, everything you do. And not just doing that, you're helping others, you're helping yourself, and you're helping God. Because if you're not with God, you're against Him. So, let's see what my word says here. How could the Corinthian believers ignore God's message? Perhaps they were doubting Paul and his words, confused by the false teachers who taught a different message. The people heard God's message but did not let it affect what they said and did. How often do you ignore God's message? So, God offers salvation to all people. Many people put off a decision for Christ, thinking that there will be a better time, but they could easily miss their opportunity altogether. There is no time like the present to receive God's forgiveness. Don't let anything hold you back from coming to Christ. The right time is now. That's right, guys. Don't let nothing hold you back. And don't be afraid either, because it even says you can stand firm on this foundation and be victorious. So let's be in victory, standing on a firm foundation, not a sand one. And guess what? We can prove that today is the day of salvation. Right time is now. And this is what God says, at just the right time, I heard you. On the day of salvation, I helped you. So God's there to help us. He isn't there to hurt us. He's there to help us. But we got to stand on this foundation. And by doing that, it's the right time is now. Today is the day of salvation. That's verses 1 and 2, 2 Corinthians 6. The grace you had yesterday will not do for today. Grace is the overflowing favor of God. You can always reckon it is there to draw upon in much patience in afflictions, in necessities, in distresses. That is where the test for patience comes. Are you failing the grace of God there? Are you saying, oh well, I won't count this time? It is not a question of praying and asking God to help you. It is taking the grace of God now. Right now. We make prayer the preparation for work. It is never that in the Bible. Prayer is the exercise of drawing on the grace of God. Don't say, I will endure this until I can get away and pray. Pray now. Draw on the grace of God in the moment of need. Prayer is the most practical thing. It is not the reflex action of devotion. Prayer is the last thing in which we learn to draw on God's grace. In stripes, in imprisonments, in tumults, in labors. And all these things manifest a drawing upon the grace of God that will make you a marvel to yourself and to others. Let's be that marvel. Let's be that example, that overflowing cup, that sweet water. We can be that every day, stand on a firm foundation and never wither. Draw now, not presently. The one word in the spiritual vocabulary is now. Let circumstances bring you where they will. Keep drawing on the grace of God in every conceivable condition you may be in. One of the greatest proofs that you are drawing on the grace of God is that you can be humiliated without manifesting the slightest trace of anything but His grace. Having nothing, never reserve anything. Pour out the best you have and always be poor. Never be diplomatic and careful about the treasure God gives. This is poverty triumphant. It's pretty cool. You know, you can be the poorest person in the world but be the richest, you know. And I love it. God's so good. God bless you all. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Remember, today is the day of salvation. It's one of my favorite verses in the whole Word. Other than, I think it's 2 Corinthians 13. It's the one about love. Or maybe it's 1 Corinthians 13. But anyways, I love Corinthians. I hope you guys do too. Alright guys, I'm out of here. I will talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing day. Stand firm on the foundation of Christ. And be that overflowing cup so others can get a drink of that sweet water and have everlasting life with us. God bless. I'm out of here.